And then, Misha, so you've been doing a lot of gardening, or?
Yeah, so you can you can't plant tomatoes until July, so that's what I'm getting into now.
Cool.
That's great.
Great.
Anywho.
Thanks, buddy. And so mom is trapped in this other dimension, this other world.
Right. And so much, Robbie, of this season. So much of this season, there was the Mary character, wonderfully played by Samantha Smith. You guys had serviced that story really well, and the way Sam reacted to Mary, and the way Dean was reacting to Mary, and how you guys were coping with her return, dealing with the British men and letters. Now that she's had this experience and is now, made this move to try to do the right thing, and now finds herself on the other side of this wall, in this hole. How do Sam and Dean differ in their approach to how to handle that situation?
Dean thinks she's gone, that she went through the rift. It's a rift, Rich, not a hole.
Oh.
I was just making sure you read the notes.
Okay. She went through the rift, the hole, with Lucifer, and the whole rift closed. And Dean is pretty sure that that's curtains for Mom, and while he's bereft over that, he's ready to accept that. Sam thinks, no, she went through alive. We've been on the other side of this rift. He's holding on to the fact that she could still be alive, and that's a bit of it's a problem between the guys, because Sam's mission in the beginning part of season 13 is, let's find Mom. And Dean's idea is, we have bigger fish to fry. Mom's dead. You're just going to have to come to that realization. Spoiler alert, Mom is not dead.
I told you.
Great.
I told you.
Come with me.
Dean's kind of a Debbie Downer at the beginning of the season. Deanie Downer.
Wah, wah.
Downer. Wah, wah, wah. Let's kill Jack. Mom is dead. Everybody's dead. Yeah, good. I didn't know Mom wasn't dead. I like that.
Read the scripts.
He hasn't read a script since season 7.
That's what we're on, right? Is season 7?
And so, in the Mary storyline, by the way, Mary, who is with Lucifer on the other side of the rift, she's got her own journey. She's got her own challenges to face now. And Andrew, how do we see that playing out for her?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of Mary, obviously, she came back with a very, at first very kind of spun out. She didn't ask to come back. She was brought back. She was sent back. It took her a while to find her footing, I think, with the world at large, and more specifically with her sons. And by the end of the season, I think everyone was in a very good place. She's been lost. Over on the other side, here she's got someone who, as far as Mary's concerned, she made this sacrifice knowingly. She went through that rift knowingly. Like, I don't know that she is necessarily, that's something she's kind of, I think, comes to terms with. That doesn't mean she's not active. That doesn't mean she doesn't want to make this world a better place, because the world she's gone into is far worse than the world in which our guys live day to day. And then I also think, one of the interesting things about Jack is that, as we know, the only person that's ever opened a rift to this world is Jack. So if Jack is the key to getting back, one, how do you convince him to do that? Can you convince him to do that? And do you want him to do that? Because you're just opening a hole to a world which has been ravaged by the apocalypse. You hope that door is one way, but maybe it's not. And so I think those are all things everyone's kind of struggling with.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point that she did it knowingly. So Mary sacrificed herself for the good of the Winchesters. Crowley sacrificed himself for the good of the Winchesters. Did anybody else die in the finale?
Not that I'm
maybe
aware of.
Did not sacrifice themselves for somebody else's good?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm willing to read recaps, Twitter, if you want to let me know. But no, I mean, a big part of the final episode was you had all these people, and really a lot of part of the season, you had a lot of people who came to, and it was really about how Sam and Dean impacts each other, but also other people. So you saw how they impacted other hunters. You saw how they impacted, Crowley and Rowena and Castiel. And so a lot of what ended up being our last 2 episodes was a lot of people, Jody Mills, a lot of people stepping up and essentially, helping the Winchesters in the way the Winchesters helped so many people. And that was really important to us, is to build a sense of community, and then because it's supernatural, you tear it all down. But, over the course of the season, that was really what it was about.
And then speaking of this apocalyptical? apocalyptical?
I think that's a piece of exercise equipment.
I spent 20 minutes on the apocalyptical this morning. Speaking of this apocalyptical world, what happened was so we saw Bobby, who
Yeah.
and what this other world seems to do is it's another alternate reality. So it's
Right.
Bobby, but it's Bobby living a different life. He doesn't know the boys.
Right.
So is this world? Could that open up for other characters to reappear in the same way?
Did you have anybody specific?
I mean,
Well,
there's
like,
not like.
This sounds more like a pitch than a question.
Well, I'm just curious. Does God like? Where does God? Am I coming back, Bob?
You are God of the universe, but it's a really big universe. You know, it's possible. You know, it depends how you do here today.
Oh, crap.
Gabriel? Yeah, I don't think so.
Come on.
We'll just have to, we'll do our own spin-off, Rich.
Fine, Baba.
So that world could open up to bring some other characters back.
It
like
definitely could, yes. Yeah. By the way, because we love to tease Rich, and we don't know if Gabriel, I mean, we love that character. But I think for first and second time directing, Richard Spate's direction on this show has been just fantastic, and we're just so happy with Rich.
Thank you. A huge compliment. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Can you tease any characters that will be back, or no? We're not doing that yet.
I think.
By the way, by tease, he means give them a hard time.
Just poke at people. I mean, no. I think we've got some cool characters coming back, both in our world and in the Apocalypse world. So that's the fun of it. Is we've got some people coming back, like Missouri Mosley's going to come back for us for the first time in a long time. Obviously Jody will be back for us, and some other people like that. And then in Apocalypse world, without getting into spoilers, some people who have been long dead on our show are less dead in Apocalypse world, and much different characters. It's not as dead.
That's
levels
exciting.
of deadness.
It's more injured.
Yeah.
That's promising. So my phone number hasn't
that was
changed.
shifty,
Just FYI.
Andrew. Very shifty.
We're talking about a show that has been on since half this room wasn't born. I mean, we're going 13 years into a show. And the thing I think that makes Supernatural special in the world of television, for not just us who are involved with it, but also for you folks who watch it, is that it continues to reinvent itself. It continues to be interesting, tell fun stories, tell engaging stories that are emotional and connect with the audience. And that's all, if I may say, driven by the fabulous performances of you two gentlemen who continue to do outstanding work. Misha came along and slowed it down for a while, but now he's gone. And we can get back to the business of making quality TV. So for your journey,
This joke is not funny anymore.
This is the best day of my life. But if we can be reflective for a moment about, and Bob, you've been with the show since its beginning as well. So the question's for all three of you. Season 1 to now, how has your experience been, and how has your relationship with both the show and you, in your case, Jensen and Jared, your characters, how has it evolved over this long period of time?
That's an easy question. How was the last 13 years of your life?
Great, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you. Good night. That it is hard to speak quickly about the experience that we've had. Obviously, it's the longest job I've ever held, and I guess one of my favorite things, one of many things that I love about doing this job is that we're never doing the same thing twice. Every day is a new experience. We're telling different stories. There's new characters to introduce and old characters to finally get rid of. And
It's that kind of crappy acting that got you fired.
It's. I mean, look, it's been wonderful. The experience has been great. You know, we've had our ups and downs. We've had great seasons. We've had maybe not so great seasons. It's an ebb and flow, and but I think through it all, it has been wonderful, and I'm very proud to be a part of something that's lasted this long.
Really.
Yeah. I agree with everything he just said. I think for me also, it was kind of specifically, and it's difficult for me to identify the chicken and the egg. Not that I would even know which came first anyways.
Well, one is a bird,
There's some one is
and the other
little Twitter
doesn't
thing.
really move.
That's right. Got it. That's what it is.
Glad to help.
No, it's a. But Jared was a lot. Jared and Sam were sort of similar season one, in that I was like, man, this is hard work. Like this is difficult to be up in Vancouver. I had no friends. I was living in a hotel room. We didn't know if we had a job for more than 2 months because we hadn't been picked up for a season. We hadn't even really aired yet, so we didn't have any. We didn't have this family, which is badass, that we have now to support us. Yeah, and there was nothing. Twitter didn't exist. I don't mean maybe it existed, but it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm getting support from my friends that aren't here.
iPhones didn't exist.
iPhones, that's right. Came out like season 1, right? I know, Jesus. Love you back.
So crazy.
So gradually, as the show has gone on, both Sam and Jared have realized that this is life. And life is pretty great. It can have its ebbs and flows, to borrow what he was talking about. It's ups and downs. It's good days and it's bad days, but it's wonderful. And to look out here after 13 years and see how many thousand people jumping around and dancing, and Kansas is here.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I met my wife on the show. We have 3 kids.
Right.
She's here somewhere. She's somewhere out there.
Same.
But it's changed a lot.
Stop touching
Can I
me.
add one thing, even though I wasn't there at the beginning? We were talking on, I know I'm new and now I'm gone, but we were talking about this on Friday. Someone asked us about a question about sort of the eventual demise of the characters and the end of the show. And Jensen started talking about a vision that he had had, a dream that he had had about, about the demise, about the end of the show, and about Sam dying. And the amazing thing about it was when he was describing this dream, the 3 of us kind of got choked up because we all know these characters so well. They're so a part of us that we have actually sort of taken them into our own emotional family, if that makes any sense. They feel real to us. And so the thought of Jensen as Dean losing Sam is actually like heartbreaking, which is kind of amazing. And that could only possibly happen, I think, with a show that's been running for this long.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
And Bob Singer, one of the great consistent through lines through the whole show has been the voice and talents of Bob Singer, who's been writing stories, directing episodes since the show started. And for you, you worked with Eric Kripke, then you shepherded in Sarah Gamble, Jeremy Carver, and now Andrew Dabb as showrunners, and you have been consistently there guiding the show. How has your experience evolved over time, and has that been, because you've done it seamlessly from the outside, is it challenging to be sure that those voices stay consistent while also bringing in their own flavors to the show?
Well, I think like all of us, we didn't expect it to go on this long. My hair was dark when we started, and it's not anymore. Working with Eric was a real gift to me, and we hit it off right from the beginning and had a wonderful working relationship. Eric had his 5-year plan and left after 5 years, and I was not sure whether I wanted to stay. The next 2 years were a little difficult for me. Again, not sure I wanted to stay. Then Jeremy came in, and Jeremy and I co-wrote his first script on Supernatural, and then he went off to do something else, and we brought him back. But throughout it all, it's always been, this ability to keep the show fresh. That if we felt like we were doing something, retreading something, no one involved in the show had any interest in doing that. Andrew, what year did you come with us, Andrew?
Season 4.
Season 4. So when Jeremy left, a rookie, a newcomer. When Jeremy left and Andrew inherited the mantle, I must say that I thought last year and so far this year is one of the most fun years I've had doing the show. Working with Andrew is a real gift. And so, I'm still enthused about the show. If I wasn't, I wouldn't do it anymore. But yeah, so it's been a great ride, one unexpected, but great, yeah.
That was what was remarkable when I went back at the end of season 11, and you go up a couple times a year to direct. Like, the enthusiasm is all still there. The writing is still 100%, and these two, you guys are doing work that I'm like, wow, it's season 11, 12, 13 of a show. You think people are phoning it in. You're absolutely not phoning in. That's why it's consistently great.
Let me just tell one story that I think really crystallizes the relationship that everyone has in this show. I was directing an episode, I can't remember which one. We were going to do a scene with Jared and Jensen. About 30 minutes before we were supposed to shoot the scene, they come to me and they say, I think we should switch parts. I think what's written for Dean should be Sam and vice versa. And I said, really, guys? Now you come to me with this?
I think we had already blocked the scene, and they were lighting it. And we went to we're like, hey, I think I should take all of Dean's lines, and Jensen should take all of Sam's lines. Changing Dean and
because
Sam.
we were rehearsing it, we were running it, and we were kind of tripping over the dialogue a bit, and we were just like, what? Something's not right. And it was you. You were like, let's try something. And we've never, ever done this and haven't done it since. But he was like, you read all of Sam's lines as Dean, and I'll take all of Dean's lines, read them as Sam. Okay. So we tried it, and it just worked. And we're like, the light bulb went off, and we went over to Bob and said, Bob, hey, what do you think?
One of our producer writers, to tell him, like, hey,
we're going to completely change the entire scene and flip the dialogue. And, of course, you probably thought it was a joke.
Well, no, you had a serious look, but I was going, I don't know. How is this going to work?
Yeah, we're actors, Bob. We're actors.
So we went off into a corner, and they did it, and I heard it, and I said, yeah, that's right. You guys are absolutely right. We had to reblock a little bit, nothing terrible. But the idea, I think, that they're always in the moment like this and thinking about what they do, and also that I think they feel comfortable enough with the producing staff to come up and sort of want to make this honest change, and that we are comfortable enough with the actors to know that this is not about ego or anything else. This is just about making the show better. And the relationship that I think we all have is really special. And getting back to why I'm still here, I think, is because these relationships are really dear to me, and I just appreciate every day that I can work on the show. So.
That's fantastic.
But wait, click over to the left to see the first part of the Supernatural panel, or click over to the right to see the third.